All right, 8-5, the real world problems, okay? So if you have not mastered the other sections, you need to go back and practice some more on those, because these are using all of those skills into a real world problem. Two of your words that you really need to know today are angle of elevation and angle of depression. Okay, angle of elevation is always measured from the ground up. So there's the little girl, there's your triangle. It's always right there. Okay. Whereas angle of depression is always above the triangle. So what's that look like? So you're thinking about from this ship here. Angle of depression starts at the top and goes down. Okay, so it's right there. All right. So for angle, going back to elevation, thinking about elevate going up, it is always part of the triangle. Okay. So you're going from the ground and you have to elevate your eyes. Okay. So there's your little picture of an elevator to remind yourself. For depression or depress, you're going down. And I'm going to argue 3 ways to think of it. Okay. You could, if you do this angle, you just have to do 90 minus whatever the angle of depression is. You can also think of if this is 38, then this is 38. Or you could also think about there's another triangle right here with the exact same height as the other side and solve it that way. So that's going to make a lot more sense when we actually practice. You do not have to listen to me in video form do 10 of these, but you can always go back to class notebook and look at the completed problems there. Okay, so let's get started. We have some nursery plants, and they're going to plant a new tree, and they attach a guy wire to help support the tree. So what that means is here's my tree. You get to see my wonderful artwork here. They're going to attach a wire to it, okay, to keep it supported until all the roots are strong enough and they won't blow over. An 8-foot wire is attached to the tree and to a stake in the ground. From the stake in the ground, the angle of elevation is 42 degrees. Find to the nearest 1/10 of a foot, that's 1 decimal place, the height of the connection point. So we think about this right triangle. There's my right angle. Okay. I know the hypotenuse. And I want to know how tall the tree is. Well, how tall the tree is across from the angle. So that means it is the opposite. So I have opposite over hypotenuse. If I go back to SOHCAHTOA, so again, this is why it's important that you know the other stuff in the book before you do this one. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So when I set this up, it's going to be sine of the angle equals the opposite, which is x, over the hypotenuse, which is 8. When x is on top, I just need to multiply by 8 on both sides. And then I get to type that in my calculator. So 8 sine of 42. Remember, I like the scientific because you're already in degrees. So 8 sine 42. That makes, when I round that up, because it's 5.35, but I need 1 decimal place, it's going to be 5.4. So x equals 5.4, and it was in feet. So 5.4 feet. Okay. The hardest part of these problems are actually just setting up the problem. So I'm going to do one more with you and then visit class notebook for any of the rest of them, but make sure you practice these on your own. All right, from the top of the fire tower, a forest ranger sees his partner on the ground at an angle of depression. So here's our tower. He's standing at the top of the tower, right? When he looks out, just straight on, it's that way. Then he looks down 40 degrees to see his partner on the ground. Okay? If the tower is 45 feet in height, how far is the partner from the base of the tower? Okay. So if this is 40, I also know that this is 40. All the way, when you're doing angle of depression, it's very important that you figure out this part right here, okay? And then I think, all right, so across from that is the opposite. And beside it is the adjacent. Look back up at that word SOHCAHTOA. That's going to be your TOA part, right? So tangent of 40 equals 45 over x. Okay. Remember, when x is on the bottom, we have the little trick of just switching places. So x equals 45 divided by tangent of 40 degrees. Back to your calculator. So 45 divided by tangent of 40 degrees. And we get 53.6. So he is 53.6 feet away from the tower. All right, so there's an example with depression and an example with elevation. Again, try the other one, but this concludes this video.